Y'all, we live in difficult times. There's war, political unrest, the pandemic, poverty, families being torn, communities ripped by gun violence and people dying every day. Police, injustice, it's all bringing so much pain. But y'all, we can look inside our minds and we can understand who we are, become better, and do this thing like we've never done it before. But it all starts with our mental health, and I know we can do it. I believe in you because I believe in me, and I believe in us. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Therapy is Life, where thinking, feeling, and experiencing well-being is what we do. We're going to start this off by discussing the vampires in Sinners. And of course, we're finishing up the Monster Mash. Ow. Ow. The Monster Mash. All right. But serious, before we go too much farther into this, we got to give respect and homage and understand and appreciate the Choctaw. Mm-hmm. You know, we last discussion, we was talking about monsters. Mm-hmm. And it's one thing to be able to know the monster inside of you, mm-hmm. but it's another thing to really be able to see real monsters. Yeah. And in the Choctaw culture, they have what they call the sacred fire keepers. Mm-hmm. And they are able to know when there is a real threat. Mm-hmm. In fact, Choctaw is one of the, most significant Native American nations in the United States. They have their own emblem, and I think on the emblem, it represents desire for peace. It represents the desire for faith. It represents the desire for community. And they represent much of what, we all want in life. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I'm curious when we get deeper off into this, the firekeeper thing, man. What's your thoughts on Native Americans?
Well, I mean, I would say, when you look at the indigenous people of the world, man, and of this country, there's a grounding in a spirituality and a sense of culture and an awareness, that indigenous people have, so they're in tune. Mm-hmm. They're in tune, outside of what the carnal eye or what society might present toward them. They have a deeper level of understanding. Yeah. And so it kind of even showed itself in the movie where it was just like in a time frame where everybody else was kind of oblivious to really what was going on. Yeah. They had an awareness of what was going on because they were in tune with the land and how things were supposed to be. So I think just indigenous people in general have a high sense of spirituality and an awareness of self and awareness of the nature and a respect for all of those entities,
right,
of keeping the level of balance there. So I think that's why they were kind of represented like they did in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things that even like you notice like in the movie is the connectedness of the surroundings. Like they know, like you talked about, like the awareness, right? They're like, who would have known? You know what I mean? Like there's no other signs, right? But it was like they were just so in tune to know like what was going on, and like they even tried to warn them, like they did. You know what I mean? They tried to warn them and let them know. And then they communicated, right? They listened to one another. It was like, all right, like this is how we need to move. This is what we're gonna do, and it was done. And I just think like we don't always listen to each other.
You know what though? Like when y'all think about them in their place, they had this voice. And one thing I love about Native Americans is talking about their spirituality,
Right.
their ability to embrace stillness. You know, to be in the space and telling stories, but stillness, being able to allow yourself to feel and experience what you feel, respecting the earth, respecting the sky, respecting the water, only taking from it what you need, but paying attention. And one of the things, and moving in as we move in this this dialogue, the fire keepers were the ones who kept the stories, the narratives, the culture, just like the griots. They kept the stories. And so it would have been easy for Remick to come into that community being an Irish man and kind of infiltrate the community without being seen. But because they were so still, they were paying attention intellectually and spiritually, they was able to see that he don't belong.
He got bad intentions.
He got bad intentions. And they was able to speak to that. And they was able to speak to that when they saw Remick. You know, I'm curious because we see like the vampire in this particular movie. And I know we was talking about monsters in the last episode. What do you think is some of the reasons why we are so fascinated with vampires?
As soon as like you say it, it's like I think about vanity. I think about like the appeal of living the life that you want to live without limits. You know what I mean? Like the death doesn't necessarily have the same type of power over you. You know what I mean? There's so much freedom, seeming freedom. You know what I mean? Seeming what would be freedom. Really, you know what I mean? But
yeah, you can do the heck whatever you want to do, and not have to pay no consequences.
Yeah, you know. So,
I got the power.
It was like that immortality, you know, the fact that they are exempt from death, which is a powerful thing within itself. You know, that's the inevitable for every human to die. And so then to grab the power to never die and to always be able to be eternal as long as you stay in the dark and don't come to light. I think that is the intriguing thing about them, you know, for most people.
And that mortality comes with a sense of wisdom, knowledge, and because you see so much, you get exposed to so much. Jeez, man.
True. And you know, too, lack of having to deal with health issues. You know, like things that ail you naturally. Right, like you get to avoid that. Like, nope, I'll pass. I don't got to deal with it. You know what I mean?
Right,
you
exactly.
You got to worry about taking your vitamins, exercise. Like those aren't things, you know.
Yeah.
And there are only two ways. If they got exposed to light, and if you stab them in the heart, though, right?
Right.
Is the only way.
You
that
know,
die.
some kind of stories is like, you know, the garlic, the holy water.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's some different variations in there.
To it.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of my favorite shows about vampires were the originals. You ever seen the originals?
Yes.
Oh my God!
I used to like that show.
Elijah and his brother. Oh my God, his brother. He was so narcissistic.
Yeah.
God.
But he played that role.
He played that role, boy. And then Elijah was smooth, but he was still cunning, though, boy.
Yeah.
And
my mom wouldn't let me watch that show in her house, though.
She wouldn't.
Bro, like
vampires, witches, any of that. No, you couldn't watch that in my house.
Yeah. But a lot of people would see them and they were like, vampires are in a sense like heroes, dark heroes, because they speak to things that we want and desire on many levels.
I can see some people viewing them as a hero. Right?
Yeah. You think about Twilight. How many people love Twilight, man?
So true. Oh my gosh, that was a craze. I remember that. It was crazy.
You know, I struggle because they had to they didn't die in the sunlight, but they skin with like
they glistened. They got all shiny. You know what I mean? Yeah, but it was a major thing, and like you talked about, like that sense of like heroic in the sense of having wisdom because they get to see all
Mm-hmm.
these different generations and
Yeah, and they could teach and give direction
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And many of them would disguise their experience by doing some really positive things. And but that libido, that lust, that drive, man, learning how to regulate that, man, that impulse to just, because they had power.
Yeah.
They had power. They could do whatever they wanted to do on some level and get away with it. But what you also realize with that power, there came the need to hide and disguise because you didn't want it to get all out there because that was a threat to that whole race.
Right.
And in some of those shows you see about vampires, there's this feel like, okay, yeah, keep this under check because if you don't, we're gonna have to come down on you because we don't want our business all out there like that.
Yeah.
You know, another thing about vampires is it always seems like it transcends that they have like an aura of like they're charismatic, like they're kind of like suave and good with words, know how to be able to persuade people over, and so it's like that, and almost in kind of like a sexual entity where they real charismatic with the opposite sex. So I think that's another allure, for people with the vampires.
Yeah, Nicholas. Yeah, and they had that. They had that swag, right?
Yeah, the swag. Yeah. Real suave.
Yeah, and they knew how to dress, and it was smooth and everything. And they was seducing people.
Seduction.
They could seduce people, man, with their power and abilities and stuff like that. So it was easy for them to get what they wanted.
Right. Real persuasive.
Now, some of them was extremely impulsive, and they would just be going a rampage, right? And there was others was like, we got to be real, we got to be real smooth with it. So I wonder, is it at the end of the day, is the smooth or impulsive, or they say really impulsive, are they really any different?
What? They show up in
So
similar ways.
So the impulsive, just do whatever, destructive type vampire, are there any really difference between them and the ones that's real smooth?
I feel would that be maybe like knowledge of existence or like, you know what I mean? Because the ones that's running smoothly are like worried more so about the survival aspect of it. You know what I mean? The more we're exposed, the more that we're at risk. You know, it goes along with that theme. Like once you become a threat, you put yourself at risk, right? So I don't know. When I think in terms of more smooth, I think in terms of like they got a better awareness of like, yeah, we have this power, but it's an immense responsibility because we can't let just everybody and know what's going on. Exactly.
So they might manage themselves differently versus the ones like I don't give a hoot, and they gonna just be out there.
I can take on the world.
I can take on the world and everything.
Their approach.
Yeah. So that's a good way to think about it. Now I'm curious, how do you see the vampire in Sinners?
I had conflicted feelings, right? Like you have conflicted feelings, right? Because on one hand you see the presence of immortality and the benefit that it could be, but on the other hand, like when you think about some of the circumstances and what it provided, right? If you're able to transcend over different generations and you get a different outcome, right? Especially being like black vampires versus, how Remick was, being Irish, I think you could have a different experience. You know what I mean? And we kind of we saw that. You know what I mean? Like that when they showed them at the end of the movie and they in the 90s, they don't got to worry about the same thing that they had to worry about when they first got turned,
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. So, I made a joke earlier about McDonald's being Irish. So now look, now we here at Remick, and he happens to be a Irishman, which in Ireland, of course, they have the Philly, which is like the firekeeper or the griot. And so I was curious if Remick represented someone, he was into music, represented someone who was maybe talented, good at music, but was what was pulled into this into being a vampire, or is it possible that he was original? Because he seemed to have unique powers from the rest of them.
Yeah. Ooh.
Well, symbolically, I think it was interesting that they used him because, like, I was doing a little research and it was just saying how the Irish have a deep history in colonization, displacement, famine, and Catholic guilt, and so it was like with that trauma that their culture has experienced, him coming into that area and kind of sourcing some new energy, some new history, some new a new way to be relevant was what I felt like the reason why they used him as the example of the vampire in that community.
Yeah, so to your point, Irish wasn't necessarily always considered to be white.
Yeah, agree. Yeah,
because British and Irish didn't really get along, because the British, I believe, the Irish or Ireland at some point was a colony of the Brits.
Okay.
Ooh, man, something. And so they didn't really see Irish as equals, but when they came to America, those things you're saying were relevant, but because they was looking for a new life and freedom and getting away from where things were in Europe. And this guy, he came to Mississippi where, obviously there was a lot of racial division.
Yeah.
And the structure allowed for a white man who was oppressed in Europe to come in America and now all of a sudden just be white.
Have this power.
Yeah. That's true.
This newfound power, right? Yeah.
Yeah, newfound power. So you wonder about him and being in this place. Look, when Remick got to the door of the people, right? The first group of people, of course, the Native American was encouraging them not to let him in, or because he's dangerous, right?
Yeah.
But what was it about Remick's nature that was really familiar and like warm to you? Did you see something in that when he came to the door in his presence?
Well, I saw that Klansman hat. I felt like that was the bond and the connection right there. Well, obviously he's trustworthy. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I felt like the connection came in, right?
That he was in the Klansman.
It was like, wait a minute. And and like, if you notice, like, he spoke to that. You know what I mean? Like, he was cunning in the sense of he knew that was what would appeal to them. And that's how he gained entry.
Yeah, we could go back and say, so they saw the Native Americans as monsters, but they allowed the monster in.
Open door.
They allowed the monster in. But I thought he had a certain level of like warmth and kindness. Like, you know how people come to your door to your house?
Make you feel all good before they hit you with the sale approach.
With the sale approach, yeah. I'm trying to sell you something, or I'm trying to teach you something. Man.
How's your day going?
How's your day going?
It's a lovely yard you have.
Yeah. I really like this neighborhood.
Like, all right.
And then go right off in your pockets.
Yeah. Oh, can I have a moment of your time? I really would appreciate it. So he had like this, like you said, the cap. They was fooled by that.
Yeah.
He represented something they understood. So he was nice and warm. So they welcomed him in, and of course, what happens after that?
Blew their life up.
Sucked them dry.
Shut them dry. Because obviously he was looking for something. He was looking for a particular thing.
Yeah.
And so what he was looking for, listen, I'm curious, y'all, because we know that moment that really turned the table in this movie. So I'm curious, what did you feel about that moment in the movie where Sammy was singing, and it was like the spirits of past and presence all were like all there together, and you could see all of that happening. Man, how did you feel about that scene in the movie?
That was my favorite scene in the movie, just because it has so much cultural representation, you know, and it really, in a nutshell, told history and future, you know, and present. So, how they depicted, you know, going back to, you know, the African roots of origins of the drum and dance, and then went into the blues era that they were currently in, and then started with the blues era that transformed into the past, and then showing the future with the hip hop and everything. It was a powerful piece right there.
Yeah, I agree. When I took the first time I went to go see it, I took my son with me, and he's 17, and he's a theater kid, and he got emotional watching that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just seeing like everything come together, and he's like grabbing my head, like, you know what I mean, like clutching me, and he's like just drawn into it, and just like, you know, you see tears welling up in his eyes, just seeing like it was. The cinematography was beautiful, just the depiction, just like the flow of everything. It was just beautiful. I think that was my favorite scene. You know, that was definitely his favorite scene. I think it captured like the spirit and the essence of our culture. You know, it transcended.
You know what? I felt like it was a spiritual thing too. I gotta tell y'all, man, it was like I felt like so connected. I had chills.
Yeah.
Like, man, this is so powerful. Yeah. It almost felt, it felt transcended. It felt spiritual. I mean, I said spiritual. It felt spiritual to me, man. I felt myself. I got so motivated.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, man, why is it when we get in these moments where there's such good, high energy and it feels constructive, why do you think it tends to draw negative energy? What is it about these good experiences that draw? Because I feel like even though this was a unique experience, I felt like it spoke to life because the vampires got drawn to it. And I'm always curious, what is it about life that when there's these positive things going on, negative energy gets drawn to us? And we can say all the time that you know, we what we experience is what we attract. But I don't necessarily always agree with that, because sometimes you're doing some good things, and that's when the resistance will come.
Yeah.
Y'all want to speak to that a little bit?
Well, the surface level of it would just be like a spirit of jealousy, you know, because you see it present in people when somebody is doing something positive or somebody has something positive going on, and then somebody just has that negative comment to say about it to try to bring it down, you know. And for me, it's when I see people exemplify that, I look at it like, man, that's a jealousy spirit right there. You're coming at somebody in that type of light because you feel like you're not capable of performing in that same way. So because of that, let me bring them down to puff myself up. That's how I look at that.
I mean, I can I steal it? Like,
yeah, you can steal it. You can steal it.
Just add on to it. Just add on to it.
Steal it.
I mean, like that sense of, just like you said, like jealousy and being like, it's almost like darkness is going to draw to light, like no matter what, you know what I mean? Like that's gonna happen. It's the natural nature of things, and I just think it's like it wants to encompass what it does not possess.
So it doesn't control it, does not possess it. So it wants it. So the vampire saw energy, it saw a spirit, it saw an idea, it saw a life, it saw a voice that it didn't have. So it wanted to attach it.
Some sort of way, and take away from his powerful energy.
Oh, hold up. Wait a minute. Right here. I want you to think for a second, and we get deeper into this conversation, about some musical artists that you think, not particularly R&B, no, that you think have soul, have something in their music that is drawing to you. Like, can we do one first?
Go ahead. Set the example.
Holding back the years. Simple Red. I see holding on. That boy. Okay. Holding. Oh, that boy. Simple Red. That's all I have to say. I'm not in the shower. Come on.
You said I'm not in the shower.
Yeah. I don't want to take none away, so because I got a few more, but I ain't gonna wrap them off. Are you still thinking?
Oh man.
Artists in particular. When you said it, I just thought about the genre. Like, I know you said not R&B. I went gospel.
Okay, who you got?
I mean, who don't I have? Like, I grew up on old school gospel. I think, man, it was like Donnie, Fred Hammond, Clark Sisters, CeCe Winans. I could just
all those. So okay, all this. So they got soul and energy. All right,
Yeah.
so they got soul and energy. I feel you on that, but you know, can you go outside of the realm of hoodlumness?
Oh, let me see. Where? Okay.
See the true hoodlum.
Okay. Hold on.
You still struggling over there?
Are you saying non-black artists?
Oh my God!
Is that what you're saying?
They don't have to be non-black. They don't have to be. They can be black or non-black. But I want you to open up the diaspora over here, like.
Of soul artists?
What? Celine Dion?
That you think got soul, got fire when you can feel them.
So many. I mean,
Just name a few. Just name a few.
I mean, I have to say Stevie Wonder. You know.
Yeah. You gotta say Stevie Wonder.
Stevie's not.
Stevie does.
But he's saying go. I don't know. I'm trying to think outside now. I said Celine Dion.
Celine Dion. That's right. Okay, so Celine Dion. Yeah, she does. Of course.
I'm lost. If Stevie can't be in this.
No, Stevie is in there. Stevie's in there. Steven is a given.
Okay.
All right, Steven is a given. But look. You can tell by the way I walk. You know I'm a woman's man. You know, time. You can't the Bee Gees. Come on.
Okay.
So
Phil Collins.
Okay.
Oh my.
So really, he wants non-black.
Yeah. Say it. 'Cause then now I can say John B. I can say
John B.
I can say Robin Thicke.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
Amy Winehouse.
Okay. Wait, Amy. Wait, look. You said Amy Winehouse. We gotta give her.
That's
a
my
moment.
girl. Amy Winehouse.
What you can say?
Oh,
So you say.
Okay.
Come on, boy.
What about Adele?
Adele? Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you know, she got soul.
Rich Paul.
Huh?
I said shout out Rich Paul. See, I don't. You know that's his girl.
Oh, I didn't know
You know
that.
Rich Paul was engaged to Adele? Yeah, absolutely.
Great choice.
Oh, I can't even think of her name, but
Who you thinking of?
the Eurythmics. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree?
Alright.
Yeah.
You should have started it off non-black.
I did start it off non-black. I was trying to broaden your diaspora.
Can I say Bruno Mars?
Yes, Bruno Mars.
Is Bruno Mars considered in that conversation?
I'm about to throw my phone at you. I'm about to throw my phone at you, man. I'm about to throw your phone. I'm just talking about people who can sing, man. I'm just talking about people who can sing. I we just like thinking about people who can sing, regardless of where they come from. But just that soul, man. I was just like, because we already know that,
that certain people just have it.
Yeah, just got it, man. Like, just got it. And then other people, you hear it, you're like, oh my God, they got that thing.
Okay.
They got that thing, boy.
Teddy Swims. Now my brain going. See,
Right,
now,
they got that thing, man. They got it. But then so people might want to take it, right? They got it.
Yeah.
But when these vampires came to the door, I mean, they had music and they played it. They had harmony, but it was something lacking.
There was no soul there, huh? No soul in it.
I didn't feel I didn't feel that. I felt like, yeah, they had the harmony, they had the stuff. It was like it was like this. I'm curious, what? So some people, I first heard about this in church. The idea of the letter and the spirit. So you have the fire and you have the knowledge. When do you know something has the fire, or it's just knowledge? You know you get what I'm asking?
Knowledge versus fire. When do you know?
Yeah, when do you know? When can you feel that something that's being presented to you, there is a certain level of passion or a fire that makes you feel like it's really sincere and genuine and it's something that you can deeply connect with, versus somebody is just saying something they know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is that fight. I mean, that connection, right? That feeling of it. I think you could feel it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like it stirs up something on I think on a different level than just like physically being able to hear. Like, you connect with it. Like, it's like
it's spiritual.
Yeah. You gotta describe it as spiritual.
Yeah, it's a spiritual connection. It's that discernment that's in it that it just resonates where it's just like you connect to it from a non-evasive way where it's just like, man, you feel it.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You literally feel it. Like, I get chills.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I get chills when I know that, man, that connection is there.
Like, is it something you see in people's eyes, face, tone, just in the way they do something that makes you feel like, oh my God, this is not just an experience. This is transcendent. This is deeper than that. Some people
it can be.
I think some people, in essence, some people live like, I think I said this before, like cows grazing. We have the knowledge and information to exist, but to really live and live life is to live in your passion.
Yeah.
And so some people, they go and they learn all the information, but they don't have the passion for it. So it feels and it looks different. But when you have somebody that really knows something, it's different because you can't really measure that. Like, for example.
I got one.
Oh, you got one? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, because I don't want to lose the. But for example, like, you could take test scores on the ACT, SAT, or whatever, and you can use that as a way to measure somebody's capacity to learn. However, what you can't measure in that way is their intellectual drive and desire to learn. So, and just like in sports, you can look at the measurables, how high somebody jump, how fast they run, and everything. But we know sports is a very clear example that doesn't always turn into the best athletes. Doing best on the test doesn't always equate to the smartest people. And so I think, but passion, fire for something.
Yeah.
You can't start a fire without a spark. Like, anyway, that fire for something, when you really want it, man, it's something different.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. It's internal.
It's internal.
Yeah.
And that's why you'll never be able to really figure out who is, because it's hard to measure someone's heart.
Yeah.
But you can feel it. But go ahead.
The example I was going to give, man, is a little bit more, surface level entertainment, but it was the Drake and Kendrick, right? The difference between Drake and Kendrick, where Drake, and this is just from my perspective of it, like, Drake is the type of artist that he's well skilled in a lot of different areas in music, and especially when it comes to hip hop. He could do a whole lot because he studied the greats. He studied the style of all these different styles. But the difference between him and Kendrick is, like, Kendrick is more of it's natural. It naturally came to him. This is what he's a product of. this is the art that he displays is what's been passed down, into his DNA. Whereas like Drake is more of an artist who he understands the culture, and he wants to be a big part of it, and he studied it so good he became good at it. But you can still tell there's certain levels that's not authentic.
Right.
About it. It's this is what I've learned how to do, and this is what I'm good at because I practiced it. This is not what I'm just embodying.
Right.
So like you hear Drake, but you feel Kendrick.
There you go.
Yeah. And remember, you will, as Maya would say, you will what? Be thankful for what people do for you, but you will remember how people made you feel. And you think about it, how many people go off to school every day and go to some of our greatest schools, excuse me, and they don't really have a passion for being there. Yeah. It's only a way to make money. It's only a resource to be used up. Right. And it's not necessarily an opportunity for really learning and developing a passion like Kendrick had, or somebody else who we might consider, like LeBron had a passion for what he was doing, or Michael Jackson, who had a passion for what he was doing, or Prince, who had a passion for what he was doing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They you could tell they really wanted it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so one of the questions I wanted to ask is, now, y'all agree that Sammy, of course, he was a good guy, and it felt like he was the centerpiece of the story. Yeah. And because of him, the vampires wanted what he had. Absolutely. They wanted his resources. They wanted his goods. They wanted what he had. They wanted his essence, right? But I felt like they also wanted Anna. But both of them represented what?
I think they both represented a level of purity, because one, they were so young and inexperienced with certain life, but they still both possessed a certain level of gift that was there by nature. But they hadn't been as tampered with from life experiences to be kind of like contaminated. So there was a level of purity in both of them.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do. Now I see that point too. I think like I think they displayed natural raw talent too. In their own right. You know what I'm saying, with their own gifts. Like it just came to them. It was ingrained in them. Like when you were talking about like Kendrick, it's like it's in the DNA. You know what I mean? Like you can't teach some of that stuff. It's just it has to be there, and then you grow it. So I think that's why they were just so important.
So let me ask you this: Can you teach a person to be a therapist?
Oof. Can you teach a person to be a therapist? Yes. Can you teach a person to be a good therapist? I don't think so.
Why is that?
I'm of the opinion that you can't. I've been in the field for a long time, and you can see like how the clients relate, how they connect to you. You know what I mean? You like you said, you never forget how somebody made you feel, right? And you can spit facts out and knowledge, and I can know about medication, and I can break down to you, well, this is how an SSRI is broken down in your body. You know what I'm saying? Those processes, right? But if there's no passion for people, like people feel that. You know what I mean? And then the population I work with, working with adolescents, they see it, they call it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know. They be like, what? You don't even like your job.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Of my humble opinion.
Gotcha.
I agree with that. And my therapy comes from being a barber, right? And listening to my clients. But even with that, it's like there's levels to being able to be just naturally good at, connecting with people.
Yes.
And really having a calling for like helping people.
Yeah.
Like you can listen to somebody and not even have the heart to give them no feedback. But I think a true good therapist has the heart for people to want to see them be on a better level, so it's beyond just the textbook terms that you can give them, but more so the nature of your heart to want to see them be better.
Yeah, and it's been proven over and over again that is not the modality that's the most important thing in therapy. It is actually the connection that the therapist creates with the client that matters the most. And so if we are just there to make money or have power or build resources, because I felt like the vampires wanted Anna and they wanted Sammy because the information that they had, the resources they had, was something they could use to be more powerful.
Absolutely.
And so we use up people and things because we want to get more powerful. Now, with that being said, one of the challenges though with the vampires that I saw in this movie was that these vampires, it felt like they were like zombies. That they wasn't really free in the sense like you might think of the originals and other vampire stories we've seen. They were all, it was like symbiotic, like one mind, and they was connected like that, and it felt like they were in a sunken place, like in Jordan Peele.
Agreed.
Like they were all carrying this level of, past trauma on them that they, that sunk them into this negative trance of zombieism that they were in.
They lost their identity. And one of the things I think about this in losing the identity is what does this form of vampireism, this vampire, what does it say about how when we become a part of it, how it takes away our individuality and our ability to embrace our own attitudes, beliefs, and cultures. Because once you become a part of that, you no longer in touch with who you are as an individual. And that's scary. So we get out of touch with the blues. We get out of touch with the hip hop in its real nature.
Right.
Because when it first started, it was knowledge. It was powerful, right?
Speaking the truth of what was going on in society.
Right. It had our identity, but then the vampire comes in. They see how it can make money, how it can produce for them, and all of a sudden they pull the essence out, and now it's something else.
Right.
And you've forgotten where you started at. You forgot what it was really all about, because that was the goal of the vampire, to take it away from you.
Yeah.
To lose your sense of the culture.
Okay. That's a perfect example of what it did to hip hop and music in general, right? Or culture in general, art. Because once the vampires get a hold of it and find a kind of systematic way to run it, it dilutes it of its artistic creativity.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're generating now to make money.
Yeah.
And it's not coming from that meaningful place. So it's lost its soul.
Yeah.
Right.
It lost its soul. Like, okay, so let me just do this. Let me make this many cars.
Yeah.
Like before, I was really concerned about how the car looked, how the car was designed. But now, like, we just trying to put them together. And whether or not you like how it feels or not, it don't matter no more.
Yeah.
All we do is this. And then, we don't want you to identify, so we want to remove things that you read, things you learn, things you like, keep you in the dark. So we have to become conscious of that so we can actually be mindful of how things happen to us.
Yeah.
But anyway, y'all got anything? Got any more thoughts on that?
Oh man, I mean that's definitely something that society has fell victim to. Just the vampires and allowing culture to get drained of its purity. So I agree with everything we just was talking about.
Gotcha. So we can think about this another way too. Obviously, there is different types of vampires that we might live with on a day-to-day basis. We call these emotional vampires. Number one is the narcissist. The grandiose thinker. It's all about them. It's all about me. Not concerned about your feelings or emotions. Lacking empathy. Then we got the victim.
Woe is me.
Woe is me.
Yeah.
They never feel empowered to take care of their situations. Even when you try to empower them, they make you feel like, Oh, you blaming me for my situation. You did with some of those?
Yeah.
But, you know, I know you did with teenagers, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
but
different.
as an adult, man, oh my God. Yeah, like, is this Groundhog Day or something?
Listen, the marriage sessions be like, oh,
Really?
okay.
Yeah.
No accountability.
No accountability. They're the type of people that will slap you in the face, and then if you slap them back, they'll be like, "Why did you do that?"
Right. I don't understand.
Then we got the controller. They need to be in control of everything, and then of course we got the talker. The talker. Now, some of the signs that you are having life experiences where you've been drained by the emotional vampire is, of course, you will feel drained and exhausted.
Felt that.
Yeah.
Huh?
I felt that. Yeah.
You felt that?
Yeah.
You will have unexplained aches and pains. Oh my gosh. So you know what? When people mess with you, they pull from you. Listen. It will show up in your body. Your body will keep the score. Shucks. You are more negative, more pessimistic, and judgmental than usual. You have a hard time setting healthy boundaries. Don't push me, because I'm close to that point right now. You feel particularly anxious or depressed. You keep having weird dreams and nightmares. So it's manifesting your dreams. You need to sit down and explore that. You will express unwanted thoughts and emotions. You feel guilty when you say yes and want to say no. Man, this is some good stuff here, right?
For sure.
Yeah. It is.
So you asked the question about, like, how do you know you was talking about
Talking about victims.
The victims.
Like the victim.
Yeah, like what is it that keeps people in that place of playing the victim?
Well, fundamentally, I think we look at someone who has been traumatized, who's chronically been traumatized, right? And as a result of this chronic experiences, they have learned helplessness and don't feel empowered to engage in life where they actually take control. But another form of trauma might be that they did have good support. They didn't experience a lot of what we call traumas, physical, emotional abuse, but they wasn't given an opportunity to ever manage or ever do anything, and they don't know how. So they've never learned how to make decisions. Right. So when things happen to them, they can't figure out why it's going on, because somebody else has always figured out problems for them. So on some level, emotional abuse can be a thing where we got what we needed on some level, but the emotional stuff we wasn't allowed to struggle in a way where we could learn to fend for ourselves. So now we believe that somebody else is always going to figure it out for us.
Right. So it becomes like that familiar place, that comfortable place that you just kind of rest in because you're so used to the escape.
Right.
From somebody coming to save the day. In that manner.
Yeah, somebody always come and save the day. Like we say, sometimes when people have chemical dependency problems, that, they have to hit rock bottom before they'll do anything any different, right? But that might be because somebody has been enabling them. I guess I could have just used that word. Enabling their whole life to be in that space. And so now they're the constant victim. And because every time they've had a problem, somebody came and saved them. Wow. Every time they got in trouble, somebody came and saved them.
Yep. Okay.
They never dealt with anything. And so when you say, I remember one of my first therapy sessions, I was talking to a woman, she was telling me about some things that happened to her life. And maybe I wasn't as good at communicating at that point. And I said, let's look at some things that you might be able to do to change your future. And she said that I was blaming her. I didn't ever say you messed up. But he automatically went down that road.
Yeah.
She felt like you were blaming her for her circumstances.
You know, but I was trying to get her to see, but you have this life in front of you.
Yeah.
And these might be some actions that you can take, because we have to think about it like this. There is the things you got control of and the things that you don't have control of. And what can you do with the things you do have control of?
Right.
What steps can you take on a day-to-day basis to change your experience?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So does that help you with that question?
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just trying to add a little light to it, because I know some people who just could constantly play the victim role, and it's like it seems perpetual, where it's just like, man, like you don't have to take on this mentality, but it's almost like you want it because you're familiar with it and it makes you comfortable to stay in that space.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of growing out of that and being more accountable for what you could have did, like you said, like what's in my control. Why am I first looking at what was done to me instead of looking like what did I do to myself to put myself in this position?
Oh, and even if you look at what happened to you, you can't change that.
Right.
You can own it, but then you still have to be able to look and say, what can I do to change my circumstance? Sometimes we get so comfortable with being in that space that we just want people to agree with us being in that space.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
We want people to validate it. We don't want to be told, okay, you need to move on.
Yeah.
You need to get out of the nest. We don't want that, because that means we got to do something.
Right.
And I think for us, for many of us, that's the challenge. That we can hold on to these things that happen to us, but realizing, okay, I can take these things, I can use them as tools to help me go over here and do this.
Right. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Accountability. That's what I'm looking at. Like it forces you to own your situation and have more accountability. Where playing the victim allows you to not have the accountability for the situation.
And we all have been victims, and victims need to be validated. But it's one thing to be a victim, and it's another thing to take a victim stance.
Yeah.
To be stuck there
All the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so and so the talker, man, I'm gonna tell you something about the talker, man. I mean, oh my gosh. Woo.
Break down the talker.
You know, the difference between a talker and a talker, like we talking, and we've been talking for a while, but the talker is often the victim or the person that always have a lot of complaints or issues or circumstances, but it ain't going nowhere. They don't
owning up to nothing.
Yeah, it ain't owning up to nothing. They want to talk about problems. They want to talk about issues. In fact, I missed one when I was talking about the list, the drama king or queen. Oh man, they always got the drama.
Yeah.
They always got the
Something
issues.
always going on.
Something always going on. They got that itch, man. They looking for it. And they be in your ear. And you feel like you've been strolling on social media in the negative section for like hours.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got them. I mean, what's some of your thoughts? I know.
Yeah, I mean, they all draining. Like you always gonna get a sense of it, and then in each respect, like it's having that awareness, right, of and being able to recognize, like, man, when you come back from interactions with certain people, you always coming back feeling empty, and you gotta like take that in and be like, man, like what is happening, and am I taking ownership of that, right? Because there is some form of like control that we can have with that, and even like when we talk about like that victim, like there's if you have an enabler and you're enabling the victim, you know what I'm saying, you play a role too. So I think like sometimes we have to take a more active role, and once we have awareness that this is happening, that all right, how am I gonna change this? What am I capable of moving, or how do I need to limit my interactions or move a certain type of way? Exactly. Everybody ain't for every season.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody ain't for every season. And so look, when you're dealing with somebody that's a narcissist, one thing you have to do is set realistic expectations.
Absolutely.
Because if you saying, oh, this person is a narcissist, which only a small portion of us really are narcissists per se, but we talk about it like everybody is. But setting realistic expectations for people is critically important. In relationships, whether they're a talker, whether they're a drama queen, whether they're a controller, learn how to tell people no.
Set the boundaries.
Set the boundaries. Telling people no, man, it's important to be able to do that. You know, you might have to tell somebody, listen, I can't listen any longer. I can't listen much longer. I gotta let this go. We gonna have to do this at another time.
Right.
Set that boundary. You know what? I only got 2 minutes to talk about this problem. I gotta go take care of something else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Set the boundary.
Yeah.
And for me, that's always easy to do when it's somebody who's not a close relationship.
Yeah.
Like when it's family, close friends, those are obviously the most draining because those are people who you have care for, that you want to see do better. So you attach yourself to them a little closer than you do just a random somebody who can come into your day and give you some spiel, and it's like, it's an easier way to cut them off than it is like literally your blood family, you know, your
especially
parents.
when they're close. Yeah.
You know, your parents, your significant other, maybe even your, you know, best friend from childhood. Yeah. Those type of relationships always seem to be the toughest.
Exactly.
But you still got to create that.
Yeah, you still got to create that space. Yeah. And sometimes it's an issue of you understanding when you are exhausted, when you're not really emotionally available, and being able to articulate that. Yeah. Because you won't be able to give them your best self because you need some time to replenish.
You fuel up your tank, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because if your tank ain't full, what can you give somebody else? How I look doing a podcast and I don't get no rest?
Yeah.
No, that's good.
How I look being there for my kids if I don't get no rest, if I don't go to the gym, I don't take care of myself, if I don't sit down and read a few books.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
So you got to understand that. You got to be able to convey that and create that environment within the family that everybody understands that we have to give each other space to take care of something, because your kids will have you doing something all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. I got like a firm thing, like in my mornings. It's certain people I can't talk to in the morning because I know that they gonna come with a certain energy and pull from me before I give out what I need to.
Right.
You know, so it's like, you know what? Let me call you back this evening after 7. You know what I mean? And that's a smooth boundary where it's like you're not feeling, you know, that sense. But I think like having assertiveness and being able to like speak on that, you know.
Right. And like being a therapist, your mental space is so critical to you.
Absolutely.
Because if you got a lot of stuff going on in your head while you with clients, it's going to affect your ability to be effective. Yeah. So you got to have that space.
Well, and that's what I was going to piggyback on that by saying that's, for me, I'm so thankful that, you know, I got to a point in my life where I started sourcing therapy because I saw that I was going to be used in that capacity to help people as well, right? Even though, like I said, I'm not a clinically licensed therapist, I know that as a barber, as a mentor working with youth, I was going to be pulled in those positions to, you know, be a rock for those people when they were pouring out, you know? And so when I was getting to a personal place where it's like mentally I was depleted, mentally I was at a place where I felt like I needed that help. I'm like, I know I'm not going to be any good to these people who are leaning on me when I know I'm depleted myself.
Exactly.
So you got to get your own mental fortitude up.
Yeah. And don't try to controlling people. Don't try, you know, because when people are controlling, it is what it is. Don't try to control them. You waste your time trying to control people that are controlling. Accept the fact these people are controlling. Figure out how you want to deal with them. Speak up assertively to people, the last thing, and let them know what your needs are. You know, if you need to go or you can't do something, you have a right to say what you feel in a respectful way. Yeah. So assertiveness is about respectfully communicating your needs to people. It's not about being aggressive. And it's definitely not about being passive aggressive. Because I feel like that's the worst one.
Passive aggressive.
Yes, passive aggressive. Saying that you're okay with something but you're not.
Really not.
And then it causes more harm in the long run because it creates all this other confusion and domino effect. Like, dang, you just told me in the front. No, I don't like that. Yeah. It'd have been over.
People do that to try to keep the peace, you know, because you feel like if I say the right thing or if I say something that's appeasing, it'll make them, be accepting of me. But then, like you said, you really it's being a liar for real because you're gonna create more toxic traits in the end.
Exactly.
So yeah.
There's no peace if there's like internal chaos.
Exactly. And living in that assumption that people live with. No, just tell people what your needs are. I think we shouldn't assume that people know our needs.
Agreed.
When we assume that people know our needs, that's when we mess up in the first place.
Yeah.
Because nobody's a mind reader. People can't read your mind.
That's good.
I think we do that a lot as adults. Like, I hear so many adults say, I shouldn't have to tell them how to love me. And it's like, well, if you don't, who is?
Right.
Like, who's going to be responsible for that? Like,
Yeah,
no.
exactly. And then if you don't, and it might be a sign that you don't know.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, then how you expect
Just
somebody else to
searching.
know?
Right.
You
right.
just
And I think
searching.
People evolve because what maybe it worked in one season of life, it
Doesn't work
may
in
evolve
one.
into another
Absolutely.
situation for them. So
Yeah.
you got to constantly recalibrate that, and like you said, be forthtelling of what you need, where you at right now.
Yeah, because if you don't tell people, and then you hold them responsible for it when you didn't tell them, then that's unfair. Because I always ask people, well, did you tell them? Did they know it? Did you Did you
express it?
Did you express it, or was it just something that you thought they was just supposed to know?
That's good.
Yeah, was they just supposed to know that? Like, I mean, no, you needed to tell them. And people might get mad at you for telling them, but at least you told them.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
they can't say they didn't know.
They didn't know. They might try to act like it. A narcissist might try to do that.
Absolutely.
Oh, you never told me what you felt. I don't know. They'll find a way to blame you for it, but you have to know what you know, and understand it and be at peace with that. But that also comes with having a good sense of self-concept.
Yeah.
When you know who you are and you feel like you know that you attempt to be a fair and reasonable person, you don't have to give people the benefit of the doubt so much.
Yeah.
The benefit of the doubt as far as...
Like, you questioning yourself and saying, did I really try? Did I really try to communicate? Right. Did you make reasonable efforts that helped them to understand where you was coming from? Did you try to consider where they was coming from?
Right, okay.
Because the narcissists do, no matter what you do, it'll always end up you didn't do enough, or you was trying to control, or you was trying to be manipulative, and you'll always feel like it's your fault, and they'll never own
because it's all about
their
them.
behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
what's putting them in a better position.
Yeah, so they'll do a lot of emotional manipulation. And so that type of vampiring, you got to look. All right, okay. You set the boundary. I like to say it like this, and the last thing I'll say, if y'all got anything else to add, you have to, if you're going to deal with people that are difficult, you have to know the weather and wear the proper clothing for the conditions. So go out the house with the umbrella or the raincoat, whatever you need to deal with these people if you have to.
Yeah.
But don't leave home without it.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, I like what you said about basically setting realistic expectations when you're dealing with these people, because I think a lot of times you go into that situation preconceived notions on how you feel it should go, or how you feel like ideally you would handle a situation, and then when you go into it with those expectations and then those people let you down, then it's just like it's even more draining.
Right.
Because it's like you feel like, man, I know I put forth the right effort in this communication. Why didn't it work? Well, it's because, you look at who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Look at their characteristic traits.
Right, exactly.
And realize that. That's why I think it's so important for people to understand those things, though.
Exactly,
Understand that these are those type of people and characteristic traits. People go into it non-realizing that these are real traits, and then take it all personal, like it's just me. Like, man, are they coming at me like this because there's something wrong with me? Instead of understanding, like, no, this is just how they are.
Yeah, no, sometimes you got to know that you're a fair, reasonable person, and you try to be helpful and supportive of people. And sometimes you got to keep a list and just, like, you're not keeping score on them, but you be being aware of the things you do and how you're there for people.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and it is what it is, especially when you're trying to be careful about the vampires in your life. All right, y'all. Well, if you have any thoughts, opinions, ideas, Thank y'all again. This is it for things related to sinners. But we did put a spell on you, and you will be back. I'm sure you will be back again with us. Like us, subscribe, and don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section. Because if you don't, we will be hunting you because we want the information. Because if we don't grow, you won't grow.
Facts.
I like the hunt.
Bye.